Good morning everyone and welcome back to Live Darts. It's that time again. It's Premier League preview as we look ahead to week number 2 in Nottingham as Fallon Sherrock takes centre stage at the Motorpoint Arena. Can't wait for that. Aberdeen last week, some unbelievable games. The atmosphere was good. Was it as good as the old arena? Arguably not, because it was like a bear pit atmosphere at the old place. Still amazing at the P&J Live Arena, 7,000 strong crowd, great night of darts, but Aberdeen is now forgotten and we move on to Nottingham. All has changed in a week in darts. Gary Anderson back in the winner's circle, winning on the Pro Tour. Nathan Aspinall winning the other one in sensational style. 9 darters galore, the Pro Tour is back, darts in 2020 is booming. Before we look ahead to Nottingham, let's rewind, let's review what happened in Aberdeen. First up, Glenn Durrant beating Michael Smith 7-3. Doesn't really tell the story of the game. Durrant's set-up play and finishing was nothing short of world class. Smith didn't do a lot wrong, missed a few doubles here and there, but in the main, Bully Boy played well in this game. That scoreline doesn't reflect how close it was. Durrant's finishing ultimately the difference. Then from there, Gary Anderson, a 7-5 victor over Daryl Gurney. And Gurney will be scratching his head a little bit, wondering how he lost this game. In the middle stages, he was in control. There was one real sloppy leg. I think Gary made it 4-all when it really should have been 5-3 the other way. So Daryl will be kicking himself. But that lift that Gary needed, might be it. He went on to win the Pro Tour after that, as we said earlier. Absolute signs that Gary is nearing his brilliant best. I say nearing, not quite there, because there's still some too many loose darts in the 1s and the 5s, but great signs for Gary Anderson fans. Then from there, repeat of the World Final as Michael van Gerwen beat Peter Wright 7-5. Bit of redemption from the World Final. Great game. Strange game, 7-5 to MVG, but it could have been 5-0 to Peter Wright after the first 5 legs. Missed doubles costing Snakebite. MVG pounced. There was a 120 finish in there that I remember was just absolute world class from MVG to punish a Peter Wright mistake. 104 average for the big green machine. Confidence crisis? What confidence crisis? No, all jokes aside, great game from both, and those 2 points could be the difference between topping the table and finishing second, as those two are the most informed players right now. Then from there, a homecoming for John Henderson again. Sadly, it didn't live up to the performance that he put in last year, as he was swept aside by Nathan Aspinall. Nathan's going to do that to a lot of players this year, the form he's in, but Hendo was devastated when he came off the stage. When we spoke to him afterwards, just gutted that he felt he let everyone down. The Piper was electric, but Nathan, if he plays like that, like he has done on the Pro Tour, he's going to take some stopping in this Premier League. The young man certainly has one eye on the top 4. Then last up, Rob Cross against Gerwyn Price. 6-all draw. There's always a draw somewhere, and this was it. What did we learn from this game? That Rob Cross is still hard to beat on a TV stage, and that Gezi Price's B game can now get him results where maybe this time last year his A game was fantastic, but his B game didn't quite live up to expectation. Both of them will feel they should and could have won the game, but 6-all, they'll probably both take that. After 1 week, the table, Glenn Durrant sits top of the table with Nathan Aspinall, Gary Anderson and Michael van Gerwen all on 2 points. Then Rob Cross and Gerwyn Price on 1, and then Daryl Gurney, Peter Wright and Michael Smith propping up the table with no points, but it's still early stages, but we had to put the table in so you could see what it looks like. But the guys down the bottom will want to get points on the board quickly, otherwise it becomes a race if you're 4-6 points adrift from the top 4. The only real movers in the outright markets, Michael van Gerwen is now 10-11 on favourite to win this year's Premier League, and the big mover was Gary Anderson, is now into 9-1 after that performance. So, moving on to this week, the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham takes centre stage as Fallon Sherrock rolls into town after what can only be described as a whirlwind 6 weeks for the young lady. Sensational at the World Championships, then qualifying for the UK Open outright through the Riley's qualifier. She now has her night in the Premier League, and let's run you through the games this week. First up, Rob Cross taking on Nathan Aspinall up first. This could be a really good game. Rob, not at his brilliant best so far this year, but scrapping to results and points, where Nathan at the weekend in the Pro Tour was nothing short of stunning. His game against Peter Wright, I think it was a world record combined average, 9 data from the Asp. His name was just written on that title from the moment he stepped in the arena. Just unplayable all day. Aspinall, the slight favourite with the bookies, 6-5. I quite like that price. I have to say it's above evens, so I'd be jumping on that. I think there'll be 180s in this game. Who do I think wins? I think Nathan nicks it 7-5, but maybe 6-all. Rob will be hard to beat in these games, but I'm going to go for an Aspinall win just on the form we saw at the weekend. Up next, we have Gerwyn Price against Michael Smith. Price, the favourite with the bookies, 10-11, 2-1, Michael Smith. Smith needs a win, but it will be tough. Didn't do a lot wrong last week. If he can just pin those doubles, the few that he missed, he will be in the game. But Price got to a Pro Tour final at the weekend. Who do I think is going to win this? I think Price steals this one. Just on current form, I think he's playing the better darts than what Michael Smith is right now. But Michael Smith needs just that one result to flip it all around, but I'm going to go for a Price win. Up next, the Battle of Scotland as Gary Anderson takes on Peter Wright. Wright, 6-5 favourite with the bookies, 8-5 Gary Anderson. If Gary can produce his A game, this could be amazing. But on current form, Peter Wright rightfully the favourite in my opinion, and I think Wright gets his man here. I just think doubling is a bit more consistent than Gary, and he's scoring more 180s than he ever has done at the moment, Peter Wright. Looking forward to the game, but I'm going to go for a 7-4 victory to Peter Wright in this. Then up next, Glenn Durrant, topping the table, takes on the challenger of Fallon Sherrock. Durrant will be looking to make it 2 wins from 2 in Nottingham, but he won't have it all his own way. The crowd will be massively pro Sherrock in this game, and rightfully so. She's won 2 huge games on TV at the Ali Pali, beating Ted Everts and Mensur Suljovic, and pushed Chris Dobie to the absolute limit. She comes alive on this stage. Maybe on the floor events we don't see the very best of her, but when the pressure is on, she responds to it, and I'm really looking forward to this game. I think ultimately, Durrant wins because I think his finishing is just world class at the moment, and that will be the difference. I think he'll pop a couple of big finishes in there to break the heart of Sherrock, but the Queen of the Palace will steal our hearts once again and put in a great performance, but I think she gets beat 7-3, 7-4 to Durrant in that. Then last up, Daryl Gurney taking on Michael van Gerwen. Michael van Gerwen will fancy this, as he always does. However, last year's Premier League, Daryl Gurney seemed to have Michael van Gerwen's number, produced some stellar stuff to beat the great Dutchman. He didn't do a lot wrong in defeat last week, just a couple of doubles here and there. I think it was that one leg, like I said earlier, that killed him. But Michael, we've seen signs that the darts aren't an issue anymore. He seems to be comfortable with them, and I think he gets his man in this. I don't think it will be a classic, but I think he wins 7-4, 7-5 to Michael van Gerwen, probably around the 100 average mark. In the comments below, pop your score predictions for all 5 games. Who do you fancy out of them, and who's going to put in the performance of the evening? If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn notifications on. We will of course be in Nottingham, and we'll provide you with all the post-match reaction as it happens. Plenty going on as always here at Live Darts. If you haven't already, head over to all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have everything covered across the week and on match day for you here at Live Darts, so you don't need to go anywhere else. Thanks very much everyone, and we'll see you in Nottingham.